Hello there again. I am in Galatians chapter 4, and the reason is I was in Genesis 16 working on an explanation for the battle in the Middle East, the battle between the Muslims and the Jews, and who certain people are, Lebanon, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, all of these people, who are they and what are they doing? Who is Hamas? Hamas is a arm of Iran, and it's based in in the West, not the West Bank, but based in Gaza. And now they're still fighting. And then Hezbollah is based in Lebanon. They've all, for all intents and purposes, all been annihilated. Now the Jews are still fighting with Hamas to get them out of there. And they're also fighting. They're in a truce right now with Iran. And then Yemen, uh, their country's pretty much overrun. So the Houthis run that country. They're the ones that control the waters and control certain things. But they're all a part of the mothership, which is Iran. Basically, though, there's 400 or 500 million Arabs surrounding 9 million Jews. Who even did the math on that hate? You know, uh, surely they have found out that by now everybody's trying to go down there and squash Israel. They're still doing it. They believe, the UN has never voted for Israel. And so all of this contingencies that they have against them, there's 140 some nations that vote against them every time, except for like the U.S. is their only ally, I believe. And the question I started on 2 or 3 months ago, a couple months ago, was, Jesus said he was hated without a cause. Of the Jews, Jesus said, you be hated of all men, they'll cast you out of the synagogues, and they will kill you, and they will think that they're doing God a service. Isn't that ironic that now if a Muslim cuts off the head of a Jew or a Gentile, a Christian especially, because we're the big Satan and Israel is the little Satan. Death to America, death to Israel. Where does that come from? It comes from a deep, it's like trying to make the devil love God. You can't do it. It ain't going to happen. It's not in him. It's as though for no apparent reason, these people want each other dead. And it all started because of the story I read in Genesis in the last episode. I'm not going to go back there and read it, but I'll show you the effects of it in the New Testament, Galatians, verse 22. For it is written that Abraham had two sons, one by the bondmaid, which was Hagar, and the other by the free woman, which was Sarah. But he who was of the bondwoman was born after the flesh. Isn't that easy to see that this was something that Sarah thought she could fix by using a natural biological order of her man putting his sperm in that handmaid? Well, they made a baby, but they couldn't make a baby that was part of the promise. And it says, but he of the free woman was by promise. Isaac was a promised child. Abraham begot Isaac, Isaac begot Jacob, Jacob the 12 patriarchs, and from there it all flows. All the 12 tribes that brought the Jewish nation, that was the Jew, but it was also the Christian, and it was also the Muslims. They were all in Abraham. So now, though, it's not as much authority they're fighting up or birthright as it is property. What did daddy leave in his will? And so believing that, they have to have two belief systems in order to make the fight. Did you know that the Prophet Muhammad didn't even come till 1600 years or 600 years after Jesus was here? And so his whole religious fervor was built out of the flesh because he came from the flesh. And Jesus' fervor was built by the Spirit because he was born in the Spirit, but he came through Judah. So now, here we are 3,000 years later since they've been fighting over this piece of property. It's really a great story, but it's sad that the only way to settle this is death, somebody dying. And it's not only in the Middle East, it's spread. The Muslim faith is spread across the world. It's big. And so what is this thing from the river to the sea? What is this thing, you know, death to America, death to the Jews? It's Ishmael and Isaac fighting over the birthright. What does that mean? They believe that one of them believed that Abraham's involved in both of them, but one of them believes that Abraham, being their father, left the land to them. Well, they need to read on a little further. And the fact is, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I could explain it to the very genetics of it. It don't matter. The fact is, there's two people that want the same thing. And so now what do they want? They don't just want the Holy Land. They want Poland. They want Sweden. They want France. Did you know all the mayors in UK and France, in the major cities, Oxford, London, just you name one, go there and look at it. Google mayors of UK. They're all Muslim. They're all Muslim. They have like 16 different places where Sharia law is. That means the police can't even go in there. That's what they want for America. They want America to have Sharia law. Go back and look at the films from 1978, 76, 75, and look. It was a Western culture. There was a Shah. They enjoyed life the way that Westerners would. But then in 1979, the Shah was overthrown, and Persia ceased to exist, and Iran came into view. And so now, here we are, with the world just on fire with hatred, wanting to fight it out to the end. There's not going to be peace. No. When they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction. The sudden destruction's just around the corner. What do you mean? Well, what are we fighting about now? We're fighting about nuclear weapons. And you think if Israel ever gets, or Iran ever gets one, they're not going to use it? That they're just going to all of a sudden become sweet? And we don't want to kill Jews. That's their heart. Their heart has to be changed. It's Cain and Abel again, and the battle's not over. And so I hope that helps you a little bit. And I don't know if we'll do one more, but we'll eventually do some more. And maybe I'll talk some more about this. The top contender for mayor in New York City is a Muslim. And a lot of what's going on in the streets with Antifa, all those things, fighting against the police, that's what they want. This guy going in New York, he wants to shrink the police force. He wants all things to be free. That's what happened in '79 when it became Iran. The Ayatollahs took over. The women, they didn't have to work. They didn't have to do certain things. They get all free stuff. And anyway, I suggest you watch the news, but remember there's news beyond the news. This stuff was prophesied 2,500 years before Jesus came. Talk to you next time, Lord willing.